On this episode of Nerdy Romantics Podcast, we will continue our discussion of James Gunn's Superman. We're going to talk about the secondary characters in the Justice Gang and in the Daily Planet, talk a little bit more about the movie itself, what we have coming next from the DC that you may see us review in 2026. And we're going to end it with a Goodreads rating. As with the previous episode, there will be spoilers on this episode. So, if you have watched James Gunn's Superman, or you just really want to get in on everything, then stay tuned. This is the Nerdy Romantics Podcast, and I'm your host, Y.M. Nelson. Speaking of that, so I guess we're kind of getting into secondary characters because we're talking about Lois and we're talking about Guy. So two things that I wanted to point out and see what y'all thought, especially, Jen and Staci, what you thought. So we've seen Hawkgirl in a way, but we're seeing here some secondary characters that we don't normally see in things and may not be too familiar with. Mm-hmm. We've seen Green Lantern, but we've seen, I can't remember which one that
it was Ryan Reynolds played the Hal Jordan.
Which
Green
one
Lantern.
did he put? Hal Jordan. Okay. Mm-hmm. We've seen Hal Jordan, but we haven't necessarily seen Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. If you watch Titans, you've seen Hawkgirl, but she may not be a big character here. And
I think it was Legends of Tomorrow,
in
actually.
Your head. Oh, Legends of Tomorrow, yes. That was one that I could not suffer through. Because I've watched like maybe 2-3 episodes. I don't know. Anyway, and then Mr. Terrific, who was terrific in this. Yeah. OMG. So, what are we thinking about? Jen, since your mic is open, we'll start with you. Jen, what did you think about some of the secondary characters? Did you know them? Did you like what you were seeing? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so as far as the Green Lanterns go, I don't know the differences between the Green Lanterns, so I can't speak to that. But I really liked that this was a very different Green Lantern than the Green Lantern movie from wherever. One thing about the Justice Gang that, again, it was mentioned but not really explored, and maybe this is just setting up for something else, is that they have a corporate sponsor. And that doesn't play out sort of in any relationship to like LexCorp or other corporations. It was mentioned twice, and then but nothing ever came of it. So that was kind of an odd thing for me.
Okay.
There was Hawkgirl, and I think on some level, I loved that she was there, and I love her as a character because she is not, and there a point is made that she's like, I'm not like Superman, and she drops that man from the sky.
Yeah.
She ain't playing. Like, she's not here for it. So and I liked that as a character, but I also felt like of the three Justice Gangs that she got the least amount to do. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit more from her in future iterations, wherever they take her character, because she was in what was it called? Legends of Tomorrow?
Legends of Tomorrow, yeah.
Legend of Tomorrow. And yeah, there's a lot of things I could say about that. But but I always feel like they bring in Hawkgirl, she has wings. Where is she from? Is she from the Earth or not? Or they never talk about it. They're just they just appear, these winged people, and fly around, and they do stuff, and yeah. So I think that she was underutilized, I felt, in terms of I thought that because the Justice Gang was such a small part of the overall story, I felt like that's why she was smaller. Where Mr. Terrific got like a nice big role and kind of got to really sink his teeth into something and do a lot. So I'd like to see more of Hawkgirl in the future.
So Stacy, being not a comic book reader, but what did you think about the secondary? I also forgot to mention Element Man as well, but
oh right, yeah,
yeah,
Oh,
right.
I like sorry.
But anyway, go ahead, Stacy. What did you think about the secondary characters?
Like I did, like I said,
Did you
I don't read
know?
the comic books, and I remember Hawkgirl, and I didn't see Legends of Tomorrow. I think I saw like the first. Is that his first season of that, or because that's a show, Legends of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Hawkgirl
It was a CW show.
I think Hawkgirl was only in the first season. I think she had written out by the second, but don't quote me on that. I can't remember exactly.
And I don't really remember her much. I really don't remember that much of that show, to be honest.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking of is I'm thinking of Black Adam. I was thinking of Black Adam. She's in that movie, but
Hawkman was in that.
Hawkman, okay.
See, and
I just remember the Hawk. I just remember them vaguely from the Justice League cartoon, and so I didn't really have anything to go from her. And it wasn't that, and like and just right is that she was just in there for a hot minute. They didn't really showcase her at all, except for that one time when she said, "I'm not Superman," and boom, and it's like that was like her big thing was doing that, and that was pretty much it for her. And when it came to Green Lantern, like I said, I don't know the different types of Green Lantern. I only just remember the one Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, and this one. I mean, he was a jerk, but he was, how when he came in, when he was doing when you saw the hands he was flipping over those things, he was giving the middle finger and all that kind of stuff. Yes. It was like that with his bowl cut haircut, he just was a really jerky weirdo. But I mean, I did like them, but I was like, okay, they really underutilized her because I didn't really have any kind of reference point for her at all. Mr. Terrific though was terrific. He was fantastic. Fantastic. I love.
He was fantastic.
Yeah. But I like, but they brought him, but they did show more of they showed the most of him out of those characters to me. And he was, like I said, Mr. Terrific. And I just loved his whole persona, how he went through, like when they were trying to find Superman. It was like, yeah, I put trackers on all my friends. Like, what? I put trackers on everybody.
Some girl is like,
what?
What?
But the thing that not only that was that part when they went into LexCorp or whatever, he's got to turn off that rift. And the guy's like, I can help you out. And I'm Mr. Terrific. And I really thought he was going to say something more than that. And maybe, I'm not sure what the rating is, but how he was sounding, I was like, he was about to say something else. And I'm Mr. Terrific. He was like, I thought he was going to drop something else besides that. But he had that whole persona. I really did enjoy that.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy that. And I mean, the interaction that he has with Superman, when we see the interaction with Superman, it's just really all the characters that he's really smart, but he doesn't. Him and Lex Luthor, because they're both very smart people, but you can see just how they're coming from two different ways in it. You know how Mr. Terrific is using his for the betterment of mankind, while Lex Luthor seems to be for the betterment of himself and his fear. Because when he does mention about, you're just jealous of me, that's what Superman says, and it's like, of course I am. It's like, I'm glad you pointed that out because everybody else saw that too.
Right.
And that jealousy and how it was coming across in him doing whatever he could to make Superman small. And I mean, it was just, I mean, I know Lex Luthor is not a minor character, but Mr. Terrific, I really enjoyed that. And then I didn't know anything about Element Man until that just meeting that part of it. I have no idea the comic references or anything like that, the Element Man, but I did just how he came into play and how he just did that and, cared about his kid, Joey. He just, if you rescue my kid, I'll get you out of here.
Yeah. And I know Perry is like dying to correct all of us on all of the stuff that we're saying. but maybe I have a little bit of comic book reference here, but I'm going to agree with Jen and Staci as far as the secondary characters go here. I think Hawkgirl got shafted a little bit, but I also think that I heard she was going to get more of something in a later movie, or they have plans for her character. So this is not the last time we're gonna see her. And of course, I knew that Guy Gardner was the jerky Green Lantern, and I know that the Green Lanterns, their things manifest in different ways, but I don't know the whole thing about that. But I do know that they are going to make lanterns, and I cannot wait to see Aaron Pierce. Anyway, so that was my little fan moment. But I do know some comic book influencers that I follow were just like all over the fact that Nathan Fillion had the hair, had the wig, because it's very true to the comics, and him being a jerk is very true to the comics. And of course, everybody loved Mr. Terrific, and I'm in total agreement. I was like, Mr. Terrific is fantastic. It's just like, yes. One thing that I really, and it's funny too, because of the way Staci was saying at the end when he said, I know how to do this. I was thinking to myself, I was like, if Samuel L. Jackson played this character, it would be a no-go. It would be a rated R. Even if Samuel L. Jackson was like, imagine if he was the voice of 4/Gary.
No, that's not gonna work.
That would have been so funny. But yeah, it just kind of the way that he phrased stuff and the surety of himself. And you're right, when you compare Lex and Mr. Terrific, it's like both of them are geniuses. But the genius, when you have an altruistic background, it has more. I mean, the genius comes out more, right? Stuff happens a little bit differently. But when you have that genius and you combine it with this obsession and this narcissism, then it looks so narrow-minded. It looks stupid. It's like, why are you putting all of your smarts into this when you could be doing so much here, right? When you could be doing so much for the rest of the world. And
I think it shows, like when he said Lex Luthor, it's like he said like he is jealous of Superman and his gifts. Yeah. He just came here with gifts, and he says I had to build myself up. I had to earn being Lex Luthor, and you just born with these gifts, kind of a thing. But you can tell with Mr. Terrific knows he's terrific, because that's why he calls himself Mr. Terrific.
That's right.
You know, it's like, I know I'm bad, and and I don't care. And I think that's when you see it's like he doesn't care that Superman has all these, that can do all the stuff he does. He knows what he's capable of doing, and he doesn't have that whole part that Lex is, that envy that he has, that
right
of Superman or in all metahumans. So no one here has watched Peacemaker second season.
Oh yeah, I've seen
not second season. I'm not up on second season yet, but I know. I'm so like, oh my gosh, I gotta get up on this. Yeah. Staci, are you about to spoil Peacemaker for us?
It's spoil Peacemaker, but they do bring in people from Superman into that in the show. People are there as cameos in second season.
Oh, I can't wait for, because when I saw him be in this movie, I said, I've got to catch up on Peacemaker, because obviously this is going to be pulled into the world, just like with the Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman, and the Penguin was in that, and then the Penguin has the show, and now they're bringing out the second Batman. And so, that version of the DC comics is kind of coming together. When I saw Peacemaker, I said, oh, he's going to be in this version, in the DCEU part. So I'm like, okay.
I do have a question for Perry, because he's comic book person.
Yes.
So the Justice League and the Justice Gang, those are two different universes.
No, so I think the Justice Gang is something they just came up with for this movie. But the Justice League in the comics, there was a time when they did have corporate sponsorship by Maxwell Lord, and that's that's who's funding it in this movie too. Like he appears at the end, I think. Sean Gunn plays him.
Yeah, he's the guy. Yeah, the guy Kirk from Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls. But the guy in the very end, and he says something as he's getting into the car. That's him.
So Kraglin from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, James Gunn's brother.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Him too.
Yeah, he's playing. I think he also appears. I'm pretty sure he appears in Peacemaker season 2 as well. So he's like funding this team, and I think they didn't call it in the comics it was the Justice League, but I think they're calling it the Justice Gang in this because they want to save like the actual Justice League. So, like a big thing here is what my theory is with that.
I agree.
So on the Green Lanterns, though, the Green Lanterns, it's basically space cops, basically is what it is, right? It's this intergalactic police force. So there have been a few different Earth Green Lanterns. So there's Hal Jordan, who's what Ryan Reynolds played in the movie. Actually, Nathan Fillion voiced Hal Jordan, too, in some of the animated stuff as well.
Oh.
John Stewart, he's who Aaron Pierre is playing in the Lanterns TV show. Kyle Chandler's going to be playing Hal Jordan in that. And John Stewart, he was the one used in the Justice League animated series as well. Guy also came in as well. There's also in the 90s, there was Kyle Rayner, there's Jessica Cruz, and I think Simon Baz is his name too. So there have been a few different ones, Earth-based Green Lanterns. But as far as Guy goes, like, I mean, Nathan Fillion, he perfectly captured the character, like with the bowl cut and everything, and the attitude. Like one of the most famous Green Lantern Guy Gardner moments is when he tried to challenge Batman to a fight for leading the Justice League, and he takes off his ring and he makes a big show. Batman knocks him out with one punch. So he played the jerky, douchebag part of Guy Gardner perfectly. Hawkgirl, there have been a bunch of different, like the Hawkgirl whole backstory is really confusing. The animated series, it was Shira Hall. She's an alien. This one, I think it's Kira Sanders, but I'm not sure. I don't know what the backstory is with her exactly. The Hawkman, Hawkgirl mythos is very, very convoluted. They've been reincarnated from ancient Egyptian gods. They've been space aliens. So it's been like they've been some mixture of the two. So it's been all over the place over the years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Hawkman, Hawkgirl mythos are it's a journey to kind of wrap your head around all that. But I'm not sure how, I haven't read a whole lot of Hawkgirl stuff. So I'm not sure how true she was to what we've seen in the comics. Mr. Terrific, though, like I only know a little bit of him from the comics, but from what I do know, like Edie Gathegi captured him perfectly. Like he was amazing. I was never, even when I saw him in the comics, I'm like, oh, he seems kind of cool. But after I watched this movie, I'm just like, I got to go read some Mr. Terrific comics now because he was amazing. Especially because, it's such a big change because we also saw Mr. Terrific in Arrow. And in there, he was just kind of like stereotypical black nerd, and that was it. That was his main characterization. But here we see him like, confident. You believe he's the smartest guy in the room. He knows he's the smartest guy in the room. He's going to tell you he's the smartest guy in the room. And we haven't mentioned it yet, but that fight scene when they go to the base. Yeah, the T-spheres and everything. Yes. My God, I was jumping up and down in my seat when I saw that. And that I added that song to my Spotify playlist because I'd never heard it before, and I love it.
And that was the thing. That was very James Gunn to have that particular song during the fight scene. I was just like, I was having a moment, like from all different angles, and I knew it was gonna pop off when that woman said, well, I'm assuming a woman, but they were in that whole gear or whatever. Said,
oh, it's just a smart one, yeah.
Just a smart one, yeah. I was like, oh, you got to pop something off. It's about to be good. And it really was. That was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, get your little circle things. Those are circles, it's spheres.
Right. Circle is two-dimensional.
This is T-spheres.
Oh my gosh, loved it. And we were calling him Element Man, but he's not. Carrie, you were saying
his name is Metamorpho is his name. Yeah, it's okay. The Element Man is kind of like his tagline, like Superman, the Man of Steel, Batman, the Dark Knight. Metamorpho, the Element Man. So it's just kind of like his tagline type of thing.
Is he part of the Justice League?
I think he's been in some iterations. I think mostly he was part of the Outsiders, which was this team Batman formed with like Black Lightning and Katana and Metamorpho after he left the Justice League. So I think he's been more associated with them, but I think he's been in some Justice League incarnations over the years.
I cut you off, Staci. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just asking the reason why were they in the same universe, because Peacemaker, at the end of Peacemaker, have y'all seen season 1? You finished season 1?
Yeah,
I've seen season 1.
At the end of season 1, they kind of outlined the Justice League. They weren't calling that, but you see when they were coming after they killed that alien at the end of it, and they're walking out, and you see Aquaman, Superman, you see them there. They kind of do the same kind of scene similar to that in the season 2, and it was the Justice Gang from, that you see that. And I was like, oh, okay. So for a minute there, I was like, they have to be in the same universe, but I was just making sure that it was in the same universe.
I haven't seen season 2 yet. I've been waiting until it all comes out, but I don't know, just from the trailers and stuff, it seems like they play with like different universes in it. So I think it's kind of like a loose continuity with, like, obviously that Justice League scene and the Aquaman Flash cameos are obviously not going to be canon here, because Ezra Miller is who knows what, like, causing a international crime scene or something somewhere, and then and Jason Momoa is now playing Lobo in Supergirl, so he's not even playing Aquaman anymore.
Oh, he's playing Lobo in Supergirl. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Which is actually a much better. He's like perfect for Lobo, so it's kind of weird they cast him as Aquaman in the first place.
Okay. All right. Don't know much about that character. So now I really got to pay attention. Okay, I got to really pay better attention now. But well, you knew it was going to be a shakeup, and getting to that. So the next DCEU movie, is it Supergirl?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Supergirl's up next. They already finished filming it, and I think it's coming out.
2026 is the date for
2026.
Supergirl.
Okay, so yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I don't know if there's one before that, but that's when that one's coming out.
Yeah, I was thinking. Sure, I don't think there's anything before that.
I mean, I think Lanterns is supposed to come out early 2026. I'm not sure exactly when it's coming out.
Okay,
but
see, I don't know either.
And also, Creature Commandos, that was part of it too. So Creature Commandos was the animated series. That was kind of like the first thing that started. Okay. Frank Grillo, he voices Rick Flag Sr. in both of those, and he plays him here in this movie. And Peacemaker season 2 is in it. Oh, also Clayface. Clayface is coming out. No, that's coming out after Supergirl. Yeah,
that's after it. Yeah, and it looks like it's a horror.
Yeah,
so is that how it is in the comic? Is it a horror?
I mean, there have been a few different versions of Clayface in the comics as well. So, but I could see a horror bent with that. I mean, mostly he's just a Batman villain. So I'm curious to see how they're going to do this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious too, because when I saw, well, not trailers it's not really a trailer. It's just some, I don't know, production something. I don't know what it was, but I was like, okay, this looks like a horror kind of thing. Like maybe, if it was Marvel, it would be like a Venom, Morbius kind of horror level, sort of, maybe. I'm trying to think, do I want to see it? Am I going to be ready for this? But is this all DCEU? So this is the thing. Are these all talking to each other like Marvel movies and shows kind of all talk to each other? Because what I see whoever does the Batman and Penguin, that I see that line, and then I see James Gunn, and I see all of this other stuff going on.
Yeah, so
is that how this is working?
It's just called the DCU now, is what they're calling it. And what it is everything is together except for the Batman stuff and the Joker movies, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movies. Those are all separate projects. They're all called Elseworlds. So basically those take place in their own separate universes. They're their own thing. So when they do Batman in Brave and the Bold, it's not going to be Robert Pattinson. It's going to be probably a more comic book type Batman. And We know Batman exists already in this universe. He had a cameo in Creature Commandos, so we know that, but they haven't actually cast anyone as far as I know yet.
Yeah, so in my head canon, the whole Justice Gang thing is them throwing around this name that they're going to end up being the Justice League, and we're going to end up getting a Justice League movie like how Marvel has a few Avengers movies. I just that's just my head canon, but I don't know if that's how it's going to go or not, but that's kind of how I saw them throwing around the whole Justice Gang thing. But then again, I haven't seen the second season of Peacemaker, so maybe that's
It
not
looks
how
like we get 3 movies in 26, and then there's another movie in 27.
So what's the 3 movies?
So we've got in 2026, according to IMDb, we are getting Supergirl, Clayface, and Lanterns.
Which is a TV show.
Yeah, which is a TV show. And then Man of Tomorrow is that Superman and Lex Luthor have to work together. That is for 2027. And then there's another, whatever this is, 9, 10 things that are listed here that do not have dates on them. So anything can happen with those. They don't have pictures. There's no pictures and there's no dates. So
yeah,
those are the ones. Clayface is kind of cracking me up, I have to say, because I don't know if you guys have all watched the Harley Quinn series, the animated series of Harley Quinn, which is super fun. And so all I can picture is that version of Clayface.
And I don't think it's
I don't know how accurate that is to the comic books. I have no idea if that's where they're taking.
But I don't know.
But an entire movie just around that one character is kind of hilarious to me. So.
Oh boy. Well, it sounds like we're in for a lot, but y'all, before we actually rate this movie, did I forget something? Anything that y'all want to point out?
We didn't talk a whole lot about Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane and how incredible she was. Or also Skylar Gisondo as Ladies Man Jimmy Olsen, which I got a huge kick out of.
Oh God, yes. Well, yeah, actually, let's talk Daily Planet, y'all. Let's talk Daily Planet for a minute. Just the whole Daily Planet staff, including Lois and Jimmy, and some craziness. But in general, the casting here was amazing. This is just some amazing casting. And that amazing casting for me includes, of course, Lois and like Jimmy as well, but definitely includes Wendell Pierce as Perry. The chief. I'm loving the Daily Planet, and I'm wanting to see more of that. So I'm hoping we get more of that in Man of Tomorrow. But
there might be a Jimmy Olsen TV show actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, if you want to check out a really great comic book, there is a Jimmy Olsen comic book that Matt Fraction wrote, and it's hysterical. It's brilliant.
Oh boy. Okay. Fantastic. All right. You're going to have to give me all of that so I can put it in the show notes, all the deets on that so I can put it in the show notes. And so I can, of course, read it. That will be my first one. Well, no, not my first one. I actually have read a comic book since we talked. But anyway, for another day. But y'all, yeah, what did we think about the Daily Planet staff, including Lois and Jimmy and the rest of the gang? Perry, you're the one who brought it up, so tell us what you thought about this.
I mean, echoing what you said, I thought they were perfect. My only criticism of that is I wanted to see more of them. But I was impressed by how much Jimmy we actually did get, though, and how much of a actual meaty part he ended up serving in the overall story. So I really like that. Yeah, I just wanted to see more of them. So I thought they were really good in what we saw there. Beck Bennett as Steve Lombard, Perry White was, again, we didn't get to see a lot of him, but I love what we did see of him.
Yeah.
And same thing with Kat. And I would love to see like a Daily Planet TV show that's just focused on like these characters.
Right? Yes. I'm agreeing with that. Staci, what did you think?
I mean, I think they were great characters, and they weren't enough to realize who they were if you weren't familiar with like past shows or anything like that, but not stereotypical like Olsen. I mean, they put their own spin on it, which I liked, and I liked. You want to say Marvelous Miss Maisel, Lois Lane character?
Yeah, because she isn't that, isn't she?
But I liked how she played Lois. It wasn't a totally hardcore newspaper man eater kind of a thing. She played it where she was tough on the job, but she was very smart, really good at her job, knowing she was good at her job. It was, to me, both Superman and Lois were more reminiscent of the Christopher Reeves. I mean, that Lois Lane and that Clark Kent in the movie, not how they interact with each other. Because by the time in the original movie, she didn't know who he was, but in this one, you can see how she realistically
would have evolved.
They were together, how they were realistically involved. It wasn't, just he's the greatest thing in the world. It's like she pushed back on the stuff that he did and said and does. And I really, really like that.
Yeah. Jen, what about you?
I'm a huge fan of Rachel Brosnahan. So I was thrilled when I heard that she was Lois, and I feel like she did a fantastic job. So I really love her as Lois. And then as far as the rest of the Daily Planet crew is, okay, same thing you guys have said about Jimmy, because he had played the larger role. But for those smaller characters that we don't see much of, and they don't do a whole lot except for kind of more or less comic relief, I definitely feel like there's a show, there's something happening, because you've got so much energy and talent in those, like, they're not even secondary, they're like tertiary characters. I would love to see them in a television show and just trying to like stay on top of the news, which could be really interesting and subversive at this time when we're seeing First Amendment questions and challenges being made. I think that could be a really interesting place for the Daily Planet to play a role, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. It wasn't on the list of things they had planned, so I don't think anybody was really expecting there to be such a major First Amendment challenge.
Right.
Question, who was the actor? He was on Saturday Night Live. He was in there. He's the one that said, "Why don't have a seat in the?" When they were a doctor,
the sports guy. Yeah.
The guy who plays Steve. Yeah. He plays Steve. Yeah. What's his name?
Steve Lombard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was like,
but what's his actor name? What's the actor's name?
Beck Bennett.
Okay.
Okay, so he was like, nowhere. Like I said, he wasn't even secondary to tertiary, but he did make an impact because he said some funny things that I just really, he just kind of caught off guard. Like when Superman first came in, or Clark Kent first came in, he was kind of riding on him or whatever. But when the whole thing about you need to evacuate the city, and he's on the phone saying she needs to hear my voice, and he says, "I don't care if it's a cat."
Cats know the sound of your voice.
Like that, it's like. That made you laugh without small role, but it was just okay. He still made me laugh because this is what he said, the cat thing, and I was like, that was not the kind of pet I expected him to have. But he was like, she needs to hear Daddy's voice or whatever he said, something like that.
Especially since he's a sports guy, right? You think he needs to have a big pit bull or something. It's like and especially since, like you said, Ryan Clark, when Clark first came in, he was being
like, I'm a macho. Kind of guy.
Exactly.
And let me hear my cat. Let the cat hear my voice.
Right.
And the cat's name is Persephone too.
Yeah.
Right. Persephone. Like, oh my gosh, this is straight crazy. But it's those little things which made them stand out, which made us want to see that and possibly have that TV show. And I love the fact that with all of these characters, and for some reason, James Gunn seems to just do that in a lot of things. Like even the small characters, they get these memorable things which make you want to know more and get more of them. It's not always the bigger characters you're going to see them, but like the smaller characters and things, it's like, really want to know more about where you're going with this. I want to see more of your personality. We need to have a Daily Planet TV show. I'm totally in this. And the thing that got me, the cat thing really got me. But then the writer in me, when he was talking to Clark and he was like, you don't have any adverbs in this. How do we know about it? So the writer in me was going like all the way there with Stephen King. You know, Stephen King hates his adverbs. And the dude's name is you know, I'm like, you're not supposed to like adverbs, dude.
I'm a writer as well, and that's exactly what I thought too.
Oh my gosh. I was like, my brain just went there. You know, but Jen, you're right. Now with all of this First Amendment stuff going on, number one. And number two, I mean, do we consider the Daily Planet to be like independent journalism, like maybe NPR or maybe a PBS kind of thing? Do we consider that, you know? And there might be a story there. There might be a through line there.
Right.
We're just trying to get a Daily Planet TV show, y'all, you know. For anybody out there, you know, in Warner Brothers, HBO Max, whoever they're going to go with next. Yeah, we're just trying to get a Daily Planet TV show.
That's what we want.
Yeah. That's all. That's all we want.
We're manifesting. That's what we're doing. We're manifesting.
Exactly. But, you know, all around, I just think there's a lot of little Easter eggs, and I'm probably not getting all of these. And I don't know, Perry, if there's some comic Easter eggs that we want to talk about. But just for a mention before we go into ratings, they mention when Metamorpho is manifesting the yellow sun, he's thinking about the elements. One of the elements is deuterium, which is a big deal in Star Trek. That is what they use to do the warp power engine. So I was like, I wonder why they said that. But anyway, I just happened to see this again right before we filmed this, y'all. Another Easter egg, which I am not exactly sure about, but saw online. So Perry, maybe you can clarify this one for me. But there is a mural at the Hall of Justice, and I think someone said that there's the first iterations of the Justice League from, I don't know if it's from a comic or Justice Society. That's what it is. And they are on that mural in the Hall of Justice when they're all there. And then the Mighty Crab Joys, of course, is a band made just for this movie. And they sing that Mighty Crab Joy song in the credits. So there you go.
Wait, it was a fake Easter egg. I thought it was a real band.
They really did get that's what I'm saying. They really did get together for this movie.
Wow, I did not know that. I thought it was a real band.
Oh gosh, but yeah. So that's that. That's the Easter eggs that I have. Perry, did you have any Easter egg or any comic book things you wanted to point out?
Well, Will Reeve, the son of Christopher Reeve, he has a cameo. He appears as a reporter on the street.
Yep.
Michael Rosenbaum is one of the Raptors who played Lex Luthor on Smallville. And
really?
we saw John Cena as well as Peacemaker in that interview as well.
Of course,
so that part
had a cameo.
Those are kind of like the big ones.
We talked about Maxwell Lord. And we talked about Maxwell Lord at the end. Yeah, I was like, well, the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, but
Ultraman is kind of, because he's actually like from a different universe in the comics. He's an alternate universe Superman where all the heroes and villains are inverted. Like Lex Luthor is a hero, all the Justice League are villains, and so that's where Ultraman comes from. But here they kind of combined him with Bizarro, and
that's what I was going to ask you if he's Bizarro. But he's not.
Basically Bizarro. But with him going into that, it kind of looks like they're setting up the Bizarro world with him getting sucked into that pocket universe at the end there. Because Bizarro World in the comics, it's actually like Bizarro Earth is actually just a square planet or cube planet. Right. So I think that it was kind of like a cube shape at the end there. So people think that might be setting up Bizarro in the future. I think those are the biggest ones that I noticed. Yeah, I think those are pretty much the biggest ones that I noticed there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So this had a lot of stuff in it. So We've talked a while about a lot of stuff that's been in it. So let's give this one a rating. And to remind everybody out there what our rating is taken from Goodreads, because this is supposed to be a book podcast. Hey, Superman is from a comic book series. So there you go. And the rating is 1 star. We did not like it. 2 stars. We thought it was okay. 3 stars. We liked it. 4 stars. We really liked it. And 5 stars, it was amazing. And yes, you can rate kind of in the middle there. So, Jen, I'm going to start with you. What would you rate this one?
I'm going to go 4 to 3.5. So not 3.5 to 4, but from 4 to like 3.5. Because there was so much about it that I liked. And I'm so excited for the reboot of the DCU and seeing them be able to do with the DC superheroes, maybe what Marvel was able to accomplish with the Marvel superheroes. The Justice League cartoon is something that I have watched my whole life from being a little kid on Saturday morning. So I can't wait for like my favorites to be sort of to have like the exciting big interconnected TV shows, interconnected movies. I'm super excited about that. The little downside comes though from, like I talked about before, just some issues with the story where I felt like some things they kind of went in a couple of really weird directions for me. So that took some of the shine off of this one, but I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of hope for the future, so I'm not worried about it. But that's me.
All right. Staci, what about you? What's your rating?
I'll go for a 4 for this one. I mean, and I'm probably like 4 because I'm just thinking about the past movies from the whole series and how this has really got me a positive feel for it. So I'm not sure if it's truly deserving of a 4, but because I have so much hope for this, to hopefully that this will keep going in the direction it is, that I really, and nostalgia from watching it, it did make me feel like, oh my gosh, back to the 80s when I was a kid, when I saw it not in the movie theaters, but remember watching the original Superman and just having that feeling again. And I just think, especially now how the world is, it just feels, you wanted a cleaner Superman. You wanted a cleaner, happy, the world is dark right now. And having this more positive outlook just made me feel good, just watching it. So I would say I'll give it a 4.
Yeah. And I'm going to give my rating right now, since Perry is hanging out with his family for a second. I'm going to rate this one a 4.5. And I'm kind of piggybacking a little bit off of Jen's rating, because before I got on the call, I was thinking 5. And I think part of it is exactly what Staci is saying, is that I feel that hope when I watch it. I feel the lightness, and I also feel the nostalgia. I mean, it's Christopher Reeve, but it's not Christopher Reeve. It's the lightness and the good and the positive of Christopher Reeve with the realness of Tyler Hoechlin and Superman and Lois. We get, when we see those moments in this movie between Superman and Lois, and also when we see those moments when at the very beginning, I mean, when he's down, and then in other moments when he's down, we get the not perfect part, which I think, to me, Tyler Hoechlin's Superman plays that whole real gritty, not as perfect part of Superman. He played that well. And Christopher Reeve played the good, positive, hopeful part of Superman well. And also, to me, you can see more of the difference between Clark Kent and Superman with Christopher Reeve's portrayal, in my opinion. So because I got all of that swirling in my mind, right? I'm thinking 5 when I came in. But then the reason why I say 4.5 now is because talking with y'all, I do see like there are a couple of areas where the continuity, I'm not sure where they were going with it, kind of thing. And the one major area, of course, is the whole fear and misinformation kind of thing that happened, and the hashtag secret harem kind of thing that comes out, all of that stuff. And it kind of doesn't really go together. And then as we talked about, the pitting between the parents, we shouldn't have to do that to show that John and Martha are good parents, So there are a couple of things there that are kind of weird, but maybe those things will play out or do something. Some iteration will happen, and that's why they were there, or why they were there in that way. But Harry, what's your rating?
So I'm gonna go 4.5. I thought it was very good. I loved a lot of it, and the things I love, I love a lot, but I still have some issues, like you said, with the parent stuff and the hypno glasses. So those are kind of like the big issues that I had with it. Also, I didn't really like, I did like Pruitt Taylor Vince as Jonathan, but I didn't really like Neva Howell as Martha. I thought she was too folksy. So that kind of brings it down a little bit for me. So I'm going 4.5 because of those things.
Yeah. I will say I did like when she was getting on him about he's such a sap. Talking about her husband. I was like, well, that was kind of cute, but she was very actually, I think both of them was very folksy. So I'm glad to have y'all on. And y'all know that you're gonna have to come back and talk the next superhero, whatever next thing with me. So can't wait till that next discussion. Hi. Want to get show notes from this and future episodes in your inbox? Then subscribe to Nerdy Romantics newsletter at nerdyromanticspodcast.com/subscribe. Nerdy Romantics newsletter not only has show notes, but nerdy and romantic recs and sneak peeks and exclusives of my spicy nerdy romances and love stories. I love talking sci-fi, superheroes, fantasy, and romance books, movies, and shows with my friends. So share this podcast with your nerdy romantic friends. Thanks for listening and for watching.